All right, perfect. Let us move on. So as you know, we are recording. This is so we can post it to our website after the meeting for folks that weren't able to join us. It'll be posted usually by the end of the week, early next week, along with the slides from all of our presenters with active links, so you can go in and click on things. We have several team members here that will be monitoring the chat, so you're welcome to use the chat for any questions you might have. As I said, we'll get the slides posted to the website, including all of the presenter slides as well. So you'll have all that information provided to you on the website shortly after the meeting. Like I said, probably the end of the week or early next. If you're listening by phone, welcome. You are welcome to press *6 to unmute your line to ask questions or *9 to raise your hand. We'll keep an eye on that throughout. I've turned on closed captioning, so you should have the show CC on your black toolbar at the bottom of your screen to enable closed captioning. You should also hide that if it's distracting for you, but certainly you have the option to do that. And then meeting information for this meeting, in addition to future Direct Care Workforce Collaborative meetings and all of our action group meetings, can be found on our Direct Care Workforce Collaborative website. And I believe Jennifer had just dropped that link in the chat for us. So thank you for being here. We're excited for what's coming up in this meeting. So with the housekeeping, I just wanted to do a little bit of attendance with us as well. We're going to wait to do the poll so we can wait for the attendance to kind of stabilize and get a good picture of all the folks that are here. But as you join, if you wouldn't mind dropping in the chat your name, your location, and your role or title, or just how you're connected to the Direct Care Workforce Continuum. We love to know folks that are joining us, especially if you're a first-time joiner. We'd love to know that. We'd love to be able to welcome you. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind just dropping your information in the chat, I'll keep us moving here along. And like I said, we'll do polls in a minute. So all right, so at this time, I would love to hand this over to our Direct Care Workforce Collaborative co-chairs, Penny Whitney and Oliver Giminero. They're going to take us through a little bit of the purpose and vision, do some table setting for us, and then we'll get going and meeting the team. All right. Sounds like Oliver's going to do this. Is that correct?
Great. Thanks, Brooke.
Awesome.
Hi, my name is Oliver Giminero. I'm co-chair of the Direct Care Workforce Collaborative. The purpose of the Direct Care Workforce Collaborative is dedicated to advancing the public's general awareness of the direct care workforce. The Direct Care Workforce Collaborative advocates for improving compensation, benefits, training, and career advancement, and publicly recognizing the significant value of the direct care workforce in all healthcare sectors. Our vision, the vision of the Direct Care Workforce Collaborative envisions consumers receiving high quality support and care from a strong workforce of skilled and qualified direct care workers who are well compensated, well trained, well respected, have opportunities for advancement, and have a highly sought after jobs that continually attract new entrants and to retain those workers in the direct care workforce.
Thanks, Oliver. Good morning. I'm Penny Whitney, and it is my pleasure to be able to serve as the other co-chair with Oliver. Welcome to all of you. I know some of you have been here since 2021, since the beginning of the collaborative. Some of you are joining for the first time today. Welcome to all. For those of you that are joining, just a bit of look back to better understand the strength and the stability of the collaborative to be able to achieve the purpose and the vision that Oliver shared with you. At the very beginning, the collaborative, this convening of people, was the impetus for beginning what became known as the Colorado Stakeholder-Led Direct Care Workforce Collaborative. So when we look at the collaborative, imagine a long table, maybe a family table with 4 strong legs supporting this table. One of the legs is you, the collaborative. It was the vision, the purpose, the dedication to addressing the need to build awareness for the direct care workforce that actually brought this group, this stakeholder group, into actuality. It was also through you, the collaborative, at the very beginning of the development of the stakeholder group that identified those 3 priority areas, and those have not changed for us: compensation benefits, training, career advancement, and the undergirding of all is awareness and value appreciation for the direct care workforce. Another leg of our strong table really comes from our action groups. I know that many of you actively engage in the action groups, and thank you. I would like to encourage any of you that have not looked into attending an action group that you use the materials Brooke sends out and maybe try visiting one of the action groups, because these are really the places where the action, the boots on the ground activity, the forward movement goes. The third leg of our strong table is our leadership team. And this is the team that I would like to acknowledge to you today. These are the leaders, the co-chairs of our action groups. It is through the dedication, the passion of these people as volunteer stakeholders to lead forward the work that we do as a collaborative. And so today, as you know, all organizations go through growth cycles. And so today, I would really like to recognize the changing of the guard in our value and awareness action group with our co-chair, Hope Carwile. Many of you know, have known Hope, have worked with Hope. She is on her own advanced life journey, and it is time that Hope relinquishes and hands off her co-chair. Her vision, her energy will continue to be there, and Hope's going to be with us, just not as a co-chair, is going to be handed off to Brooklyn Ryle. And we welcome Brooklyn. Next quarterly meeting, we'll have an opportunity to get to know our leaders a little bit better. But we look forward to welcoming Brooklyn to the value and awareness co-chair position with Pascal Adu, and to our leadership team. Also on our leadership group, Chrissy Esposito from Training and Career Advancement. You're going to hear about the important role of this particular action group in the development of the standardized curriculum. And then the absolute top priority that was identified 3 years ago continues to be a top priority is our compensation and benefits action group. And our co-chairs for that are Deborah Lively, and she's been joined by Ashley Weber. So these are our leaders of our action group. We look forward and we thank them for their work and their dedication and their innovative thinking. And the fourth leg of our sturdy collaborative table is actually our state HICPUF and state partners. And Brooke, I'm going to hand it over to you to welcome some new state partners.
Thank you, Penny. I appreciate it. Yes, so we, as the changing of the guard and the changes always happen, we do have a few new team members on our HICPUF workforce team. So as always, we have our HCBS Division Director, Candace Bailey, our ARPA Long-Term Direct Care Workforce Unit Supervisor, and also the winner of Longest Title Award goes to Heather Johnson. We have me, and our new team member for Career Pathway Specialist is Whitney Kirka. Jennifer Blair remains on as Data Infrastructure Specialist. John Hendricks remains on as the Direct Care Workforce Support Specialist, and welcoming Justin Melton as the Training Fund Administrator to our team as well. So in addition to getting to know the leadership team and our co-chairs, you'll also get a chance to get to know some of our new workforce team members through the action group meetings and also at the next collaborative. So thank you all. And I'm going to go ahead and take us into our polls because it looks like our attendance has kind of stabilized a little bit. So quickly, I'm just going to ask you a handful of poll questions. It just gives us an idea of how our outreach is doing, who was represented here at the collaborative, and where we maybe need to do some additional outreach. We are across the continuum of care, meaning we want representation from all areas geographically and in terms of populations that folks are working with and expertise. So the first question is, let's see, which region do you represent? And if you are a co-host, if I've made you a co-host to present later, you may not have the option to respond. just FYI. I'll give folks a few more seconds here. All right, that's about 80%. It looks like it's stabilized a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results so you all can see what we see as well. So we do have representation from all of our regions, which is exciting. We like to see that. We would like to see a few more in our, regions 4, 5, and 6. So you are welcome to share information from this collaborative with those folks. And then we'll also identify ways in the leadership team to maybe reach out to those places specifically as well. So the next poll is going to be how you identify on the direct care continuum. What brings you to the table here today? All right, and that looks like the same amount that answered last time, maybe a few extras. Looks like we had a few extra folks trickle in. So let me end this and share the results with you. So we have good representation across the board. We want to welcome specifically our direct care workers. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. Our individuals receiving services, family members, and then we're always well represented in the employer advocate and government agency realm as well. So thank you for being here. We just really appreciate you taking the time to let us know. And then last but not least, we also like to know how you heard about us, because obviously it's working. You made it here. So we want to keep using those avenues to reach folks and then identifying new avenues as well. All right. All right, sharing the results here. Looks like that HICPUF newsletter or communication, we typically see that as John Barry's newsletter. If you aren't signed up for that, just drop your name, an email in the chat, or private message me on here and say you'd like to sign up for that constant contact, and we can certainly get you connected with that sign up. But all right, well, thank you very much for answering those. I'm going to go ahead and move us on in the agenda, and we'd like to welcome Rachel Newton with HICPUF to give us an overview of the state of the workforce survey. Rachel, are you with us?
Hey, Brooke, I am here. I just wanted to thank everybody for having me here. Like Brooke said, my name is Rachel Newton. I'm from the department. And so today I am here to share with you the results of the State of the Workforce Survey, Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities from 2021, the data results. Next slide, please. Sorry, is that for me?
Nope, I got it. It was somebody was unmuted. You're fine.
Okay, sorry. Okay. I'm having some network issues today, so if I, freeze, just kind of let me know when I get back.
Okay. Yep, no, you're good.
Okay, so for the purpose of this survey, direct care workers were defined to work with adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities and help them live fulfilling lives, make choices, and live and work in the community. So in order to be considered a part of this demographic, it was all people whose primary job responsibilities to provide support, help with skills development, guidance, or personal assistance at any location or during any activity. So anything at home, leisure activities, at work, during recreational activities to adults with IDD. This included all full-time and part-time direct care workers, and then also all paid staff members who spent at least 50% of their hours doing direct care tasks. So they may also have done some supervisory tasks, but their primary job responsibility had to be direct care work. Next slide, please. So for Colorado survey sample, we surveyed agencies that provide services to members enrolled on the developmental disability waiver and the supporting living services waivers. The direct care workers also had to specifically provide services for supported community connections, specialized habilitation, residential habilitation services, respite, homemaker services, personal care services, pre-vocational services, life skills training, mentorship, peer mentorship, or supported employment services. Next slide, please. Okay, so kind of some survey basics here. There was 29 states, including and Washington, DC, that took part in this survey. There was about 3,770 provider agencies that responded, with an estimate of 280,000 or more direct care workers that were represented in this data. Specifically in Colorado, we had 127 agencies respond out of 321 that were eligible. So that put our response rate at 39.6% and our margin of error at 6.77%. And typically with this survey, we try to reach a 5% margin of error. That way that we know our data is representative of our population. So we didn't quite hit it in 2021, but we got pretty close. Next slide, please. So this can kind of just give you a look at our workforce demographics. In 2021, agencies reported the average racial ethnic breakdown of their direct care workforce as 12% Hispanic, 3% Asian, 47% white, and 13% Black or African American. Next slide, please. And so the breakdown of gender identity was 65% female, 26% male, 9% reported that they didn't know the gender identity, and 0% were non-conforming or other. Next slide, please. Again, so in 2021, this is kind of taking a look at agency size. 67% of agencies employed 1 to 20 direct care workers, 17% employed 21 to 40, 6% employed 41 to 60, and 10% employed 61 or more direct care workers. So as you can see, Colorado agencies typically tend to be smaller, employing fewer direct care workers than compared to the national average there. Next slide, please. In 2021, Colorado's turnover rate was 50%. I took a look and compared the turnover rate starting in 2018. It's not represented on this slide. However, across reporting years, the weighted average turnover rate since 2018 was about 46.8%. So the turnover ratio kind of saw a decrease from 51.2% in 2018 to 40.5% in 2019. It did begin to increase again following 2019 to 45.5% in 2020, and then to 49.9%, back up to 49.9% in 2021. Next slide, please. So in 2021, the direct care workers employed by agencies by December of the surveyed year, or 2021, about 1/3 or 36% had only been employed there for a year or less. So of the direct care workers, 22% have been employed for less than 6 months, 14% had been employed between 6 and 12 months, 15% had been employed between 12 and 24 months, 13% had been employed between 24 and 36 months, and 37 had been employed 36 months or more. Next slide, please. And of the direct care workers who left employment at responding agencies during 2021, just about over half, 58%, had been employed there for less than 1 year. Next slide, please. So among responding provider agencies who distinguish between full-time and part-time direct care worker positions, the vacancy rates for full-time positions was 16%, and then the vacancy rates reported for part-time positions was 14%. Next slide, please. This represents the circumstances under which a direct care is separated from their agency. So in 2021, as you can see here, 81% was voluntary, 14% was because they were terminated, 1% were laid off, and 4% reported that they didn't know why that direct care worker left the agency. Next slide, please. Okay, so this slide is the average hourly wage across all services in Colorado in 2021. So one thing I wanted to note about this data is this was prior to the wage pass-through, which occurred in on January 1st, 2022. So the wage pass-through was approved to require an increase to the base wage to $15 to all direct care workers in HCBS settings. So it'll be exciting to see how this will influence it in the future. However, in 2021, the average hourly rate across all service types was $16.98 per hour. And then I also thought it was important to show here, though, in 2021, the minimum hourly wage that was reported was still at $12.34, and the maximum was at $27.78. Next slide, please. I also wanted to show here just a cross-year analysis of the hourly wages. As you can see here, the average hourly wage increased from $14.59 in 2018 to $16.98 in 2021. So it is exciting to see that that is increasing. The minimum average hourly wage increased from $10.40 in 2018 to $12.34 in 2021. And then the maximum hourly wage increased from $25 in 2018 to $27.78 in 2021. Next slide, please. Okay, so this slide here is showing agencies and providing paid time off to their direct care workers. So this first one here, pooled paid time off is a method for offering and tracking time off in which the provider agency offers employees a bank of hours with no further delineation of the purpose of type of time off. So in 2021, those that were using the pool method, 40% of the providers offered pooled paid time off to all direct care workers. And then 73% offered paid sick time, 77% offered paid vacation time, and 41% offered personal time to some or all of their direct care workers. So as you can see, Colorado is pretty comparable to the national average. I also don't have it on this slide here, but I just wanted to note there was an increase in agencies offering sick time from 59.3% in 2018 to 72.6% in 2021. And then there was also an increase in agencies offering paid time off from 39.7% in 2018 to 41.1% in 2021. So, still has some work that needs to be done here, but it also has been increasing over the years. So that's been exciting to see. Next slide, please. This next part is just what agencies are using for recruitment and retention strategies. In 2021, 36% of agencies reported that they are using pay incentives or referral bonuses. 85% reported that they provide a realistic job preview upon hiring direct care workers as part of their strategy. 81% are offering code of ethics training. 29% reported that they have a ladder to retain highly skilled workers, so that as they progress through years and learning, they're receiving higher pay. 27% are supported to acquire credentialing. Next slide, please. And this is just a continuation. So 32% of agencies reported that they offer bonuses, stipends, or raises that are tied to their credentialing process. And then 49% offer employee engagement surveys, 56% offer employee recognition programs, and 17% of direct care workers were included in agency governance. And then 57% offer training to direct care workers that were above state regulation. Next slide, please. So I know Brooke said she's going to be sending this out to you guys if you're interested. This is just a quick preview of those data results. So if you're interested in viewing that full report, you can click here on these slides and I'll take you straight there. Next slide. And then of course, does anybody have any questions today?
We just had one come in the chat, and it was just asking if these slides would be included in the slide deck that's posted to the website. And yeah, I said yes. So these will be included in the master slide deck. And then it looks like Jennifer posted the link, the direct link that you can post to see the full report. And then there's also a PDF copy in the chat as well, so you can take a look at the results.
Perfect. Thank you. And then just this next slide here, this is my contact information. So if you want to learn more or have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me.
Perfect. Thank you, Rachel. Any last minute calls or any last minute questions for Rachel before we let her off the hook? I just got one here coming in. Of the responses in Colorado, was an analysis done to compare responses in different geographic locations of the state?
You know, that's a really good question. At this time, no. We are currently working on a report that's just more of a cross-year analysis. I am actually not sure if we are tracking based off of different geographic regions, like where the agencies are located. But if you want to send me an email, I can look that further into that for you, and I would be happy to get back with you on that.
Perfect. All right. All right. Perfect. Well, thank you all. And yeah, welcome to email Rachel with any questions that you have. But right now we'll move on in the agenda. Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks so much for having me today.
Thanks. All right. So next, I'd like to turn it over to our next presenter. And so I just want to check with Jessica and make sure she's ready to go. And if she is, I'll stop my share.
Yes. Thank you so much, Brooke. I will pull my screen up.
Perfect.
One moment. There we go. Can everyone see that?
Looks good, Jessica.
Awesome. All right. So let's dive in here. Thank you so much again to Brooke and Heather as well for inviting us to present here today. So I just wanted to give a brief overview of the HCPF public awareness campaign that Circuit Media is working on. And so to kind of get us started, I just want to go through a brief round of introductions. Just in general, these are several of the folks who are working on this initiative. My name is Jessica Wolford Barnes, and I am the lead project manager on this initiative. And I'm supported by, again, a full suite of in-house folks supporting all aspects of this project as we progress. So again, this is just a full list of some of the folks that are actually assisting with this initiative. And then apologies, let me get to the next slide. There we go. So as an overview of this campaign, as you know, with a statewide shortage of direct care workers and an increasing need for them, this public awareness campaign really hopes to highlight the values and the importance of direct care workers in the state of Colorado. So the goal of this campaign is really to showcase and highlight, again, all of the hard work that direct care workers do here in the state of Colorado, and really why we need more of them. This can be achieved obviously through acknowledging the work that you do and creating pride for direct care work, heroizing direct care workers as an avenue as well, and then working on retaining individuals within the field too. Certain areas of the state will obviously need to be prioritized to reach the largest target audience and kind of make sure we're reaching all four corners of the state. And so this campaign in general will contain a broad media mix of earned, owned, and paid media, which again, earned media is similar to like a publicity, something that we don't pay for, but comes naturally through, organic message sharing. Owned media is something that, HICPUF controls, such as like a website or any other avenues, like perhaps a social media account. And then paid advertising includes regular advertising like television and radio, what you might consider something that you have a news spot out there. And so again, HICPUF was actually provided funding through the Home and Community-Based Services American Rescue Plan Act, the ARPA funds, to provide funding for this project. And so again, we're kind of in the throes of this project, and the work we've completed so far has been really enlightening, I would say. We've been working a lot with some of these survey findings, some of our own surveys, and we've completed, again, a couple different deliverables here. So a research summary report where we've developed an assessment framework for the campaign and really using those well-informed methods to assess data, identify what assets we can put into the campaign, and determine audience segments. Who are we trying to reach with this campaign, and what are the most effective channels that we can actually disseminate the messaging? And also, how do these target audiences, such as yourself, receive media? What are the best ways, again, for you to receive a message and then also feel like you can take action and be a part of this campaign? And then we create a plan for completing, again, just these initial stages for the campaign. We also have a stakeholder engagement report where, again, we went through and identified potential campaign messages and themes, what can be the most impactful. We also looked into communication channels and insights relative to focus groups and our survey that went out in April. So thank you to any of you who filled out that survey as well. And then we refined potential campaign messages, themes, communication channels, and all of those good insights to further narrow down and really make sure that the campaign is targeted and focused the way that it needs to be the most impactful here in the state of Colorado. We also developed, again, like baseline knowledge levels to continue throughout our testing to say, are we making an impact? This is a pre-test and a post-test that occurs within any campaign. There was that stakeholder engagement survey, again, that was in April. So again, thank you to everyone who filled that out. But that was a part of an effort to get a baseline knowledge. Where are we today in terms of public awareness about direct care workers? What is direct care work? And that survey was released to not just direct care workers, but to families of those being served, to the general public as a whole, and even to folks who expressed interest in joining the field. So that way we could get a well-rounded picture of how does the state of Colorado know about direct care workers? What is their impression of direct care workers? And what can we do to elevate the image of direct care workers in Colorado? The findings of that survey have obviously helped us to inform message development and our message testing, and even policy and program development recommendations as we go along. So those will help to support, again, improvement efforts and to guide future stakeholder engagement initiatives as we go along in the campaign. The editorial campaign calendar that we've put together is just a draft, but it continues to refine and focus the campaign using those insights as we continue to go along. So the campaign editorial calendar will continue to be fleshed out. It's almost like a living document as we continue along within the timeline. But this outlines general basic timeline for the campaign, including advertising. So when do we want ads to air, and what would be the most optimal media mix that we want to make sure that everyone in the state, or as most people as we can reach, are actually receiving this message, and again, incited to take action, to visit a website, to read up on resources, or to apply to become a direct care worker. So these are all important things to note as, again, we're working through the campaign, and these are all living documents. And as we continue to research and we continue to engage with stakeholders such as yourselves, we're going to continue to get more insight and more information to really flesh out the campaign and make sure that, you know, again, it's aligned with you and your wants and your needs, and also with the state and their needs as well. So the next steps, generally speaking, we have a campaign phases research report that is coming up. And so that, again, is just an additional research report that provides a clear foundation for next steps in message development and campaign development and message testing. And then we have the development and testing of prototype messaging, which is personally my favorite. I really love getting into the weeds with, what do you think about this message or this image, these fonts, these colors, what kind of feelings do these invoke? And that is, for me, one of the most exciting parts of developing a campaign, is going and talking to the stakeholders, such as yourselves, and figuring out, again, what is the most impactful? Is this all white noise, or does this ad really stand out to you? Does it give you a good emotion, a good feeling, and good recall after the fact? Is it something that you would want to share with your friends and family going forward? And to be able to open that discussion. So those will messaging and message development and message testing include some internal brainstorming sessions where we ideate and we come up with some drafted messaging, and then we develop a rollout plan for the campaign messaging, all while, again, trying to engage stakeholders with mini focus groups or surveys, really getting your feedback, as you are the folks who are the most involved in this campaign from a base level. And then we obviously provide HICPUF with a presentation, and we'll go through those messaging concepts and kind of review everything together before we fully launch the message testing phase. So the next steps, really, I would say on your end, is to be on the lookout for some of these action items that you can take to participate within the campaign, to provide your feedback, to ask any questions. We do have a Jamboard that we'll be sending out, and there will be a mini focus group kind of sessions happening here towards the end of June into July. We'll also have a secondary survey where you'll be able to give, again, feedback on some drafted ads, or just as I mentioned, fonts, colors, language, imagery, anything like that. This is the most creative portion. And again, it's super fun, in my opinion. So we would really love everyone to provide your feedback as you can, either, again, through that Jamboard, through some of these collaborative meetings going forward, mini focus groups or interviews, and of course, surveying. So then the last slide I have here, again, is just my contact information as well. I thank you all in advance for your extremely valuable feedback, and I welcome any kind of questions about the campaign or questions about how you can get involved going forward, either at my contact information here, or obviously you're welcome to reach out to Brooke and Heather as well. Any questions now that I might be able to answer?
I don't see any come through the chat yet. We'll give folks a few minutes, but I had a question for you, Jessica.
Sure.
How long will the Jamboard be open? Do you have a timeline on that?
I would say it would go through the end of message testing, which as of now, we're planning it would go through mid to late July. So there would be a very wide period where you could go in and see other people's notes, and you can interact with those action items and those feedback. And we can obviously continue dropping in and massaging those ads as we gather feedback from those mini focus groups and the surveys too.
Perfect.
Great question.
And so folks here in attendance too, we're really going to lean into the July action groups, I think, for some of this. Like those meetings are already set, so we're going to invite Circuit Media to those meetings to kind of tap into folks. So if you're really interested in getting involved, please just let us know or attend one of those action group meetings. I think that's probably a great way to get involved. But if you have issues with the Jamboard, can they email us their thoughts and we can add them for them?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
the Jamboard as of today, it is blank as of right now, as we are still in that, again, development phase where we're going to present those concepts to HCPF later this month. So once we have those concepts either approved or both of them remain for testing, that content will go into the Jamboard, and then that will be open for any kind of comments, questions, concerns, any kind of feedback.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Can I have one of you or your team members drop the link to the Jamboard in the chat?
Absolutely. I will do that.
Perfect. That way, if they have ideas just brimming, they don't have to wait till the slides go out next week.
Absolutely. We
Okay.
welcome any kind of feedback at any time.
Lovely.
Would you like me to stop sharing my screen, Brooke?
Yeah, I don't see any other questions. I'll do a last call for questions for Jessica and Circuit Media. I guess you're good.
All right, I'll stop sharing and I will drop that link for the Jamboard here in the chat. And these slides will also be included. I will send those to Brooke after the meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica. All right. Okay. I believe our presenters are going to stick around just for a little bit. So if questions pop up, you can just drop them in the chat or again, reach out and email, whatever works best for you. But I'll go ahead and move us through the agenda. We are a little bit ahead of schedule, which I don't usually know what to do with. So that's nice. We wanted to take some time and just do a last call for questions for any of our presenters. And then we also want to give time and space in what we call an open forum. And this is for you as the attendee to ask questions, to share announcements. If you have things going on in your organization or in your group that you'd like others to know about, you can ask questions for feedback if you're having struggles or successes. So we just really like to give a little bit of time to folks to do some open forums. So this can be as much or as little as you'd like. So we'll just kind of give some space here. I'll quit talking and you can raise your hand if you have a comment. I do see a question in the chat, though. It's not necessarily open forum, but Jenny's asking where we sign up to be involved with the action committees or attend meetings. And so I'm going to drop the chat the website for the Direct Care Workforce Collaborative. That has the meeting agenda, or not agenda, the meeting schedule with the Zoom information where you can join. There's also an action group sign up. You don't have to attend every action group meeting, but if you are on the invites, you'll get the notes. So you may not be able to attend every meeting, but you'll be on the note section when those notes go out to the invite list after the meetings. You're welcome, Jenny. Thank you. It looks like somebody is asking, Penny, would you want a JAWS pilot update?
Yes, Chrissy, I think that would be wonderful if you would like to do it.
I can speak to it a little bit. I just didn't know if there was a place in this forum for talking about the JAWS program. I don't know. I'm Chrissy Swanson. I'm the executive director at Bear Creek, but I'm also the Colorado Healthcare Association District 3 chair. And so we have a collaborative of communities that are partnering with UCCS, and I thought I saw Judy Scott on this call as well. And so we piloted for the JAWS is Jumpstart Aging Workforce Solutions, and it's a really unique grant opportunity to bring high school students into the long-term care setting and take a bite out of the workforce. How'd I do, Penny? Exactly. And so we did pilot our first group of students actually at my community and another community here in Colorado Springs, Falcon Heights. And so we had 8 students do a 15-hour internship in the long-term care communities. They got a wide range of just first view being a caregiver, CNA nurse, working also in ancillary departments such as therapeutic activities. They spent time with maintenance, doing fire drills. They were also spent quite a bit of time in dining and housekeeping services. So we all were very excited. The feedback was just amazing, and we look forward to doing a new pilot coming up at Liberty Heights here in El Paso County. I don't recall the dates, but it's sometime within the next month.
Yes.
Of the 3 students that we piloted at my community specifically, 2 have indicated they wanted to join our community as hospitality aides, and they are in the HR background process to get to spend time with our older adults on a daily basis. So I'm looking forward to them having summer jobs. That's a quick synopsis. Penny, anything you want to add?
Of course, there's always something I will add. Thank you, Chrissy. But Jessica, I think this is just an example of the energy that can go into getting the message for the importance of the work that is done at the direct care level across the continuum. And Chrissy is a long-term care leader in Colorado Springs. And so there may be some intersect. What we're learning from this program, and UCCS also has a student nursing and health promotions internship program. So there may be some cross-pollination of information because it's all about the workforce. And just one thing that I took away, having the privilege of meeting the students, and I know the work Chrissy does, and being involved in the communication with the next group of students. There, for years, there has been, we need to try to get younger people to know about this work. What I learned from this experience, once they experience the energy, the value of the work, we don't have to drag and pull them. They come, they want to stay. And the experience at Falcon Heights, the unilateral comment, we wish we had more time here. And so all of these students are ready to develop, work collaboratively with us to communicate the opportunity of this program and communicate the experience to other students. So, Chrissy, I think just close with the comment, the quote that the one young student from your visit made. It was remarkable.
Absolutely. I will address quickly a couple of the questions though. The students were part of a CTE program, and so we had a lot of work done around that to make sure it fit the high school need. They did get some, they will get credit if they continue the internship program for up to 60 hours. So all of them, I believe, indicated wanted to do that, come back for 15-hour courses throughout the rest of the semesters. No, they were not paid to do the internship. It was a volunteer through their high school program. And, but if they chose to come back and work in the hospitality aid separately, then yes, they will get paid. And so that's a win-win situation, in my opinion. One of the students made the comment when asked what he learned during that experience and would share with other students is that the human soul is a beautiful thing and it does not diminish with age. How wise was that young man? And it still gives me goosebumps just to repeat his quote.
Thanks, Chrissy.
And I would add, this is Judy Scott, UCCS. That is another piece of this project. We have been able to add freshmen at UCCS to the internships and actually develop paid internships for these students, as well as unpaid under their degree, health sciences, where they're getting credit, one or the other. And so we have been able to develop a handbook for interns that I think the high school students will be able to use as well. And then we're creating their training for them before they go out into agencies or to long-term care that maybe cut down the time that is needed or by long-term care leaders like yourself, Chrissy, to get them up to speed. So we've been showing them how to feed residents, how to use a walker, wheelchair, and so on, before they even step out the door. But we're very excited about that because even as a professor over here at UCCS, I can tell you that students don't know how to talk to older adults or relate with them. And we want to get the communication piece handled right up front, as well as some of those technical skills that would be helpful to know when they go.
Looks like we have a question. I see a hand raised. Oh, Jessica, please. Yes.
Oh, no. So on that note, I've been watching as well the comments in the chat too. And there was a comment from Lynn about testimonials as well. And that is something that we've discussed for this campaign as certainly a way to reach multiple different demographics across the state too. So I'm wondering, like, is there a way for us to tap into some of these students for that younger demographic, which traditionally sometimes can be a little bit harder to reach, especially after the pandemic and things have shifted in terms of communication channels and reception. I would just be extremely interested in, yes, opening that conversation of how can we gather some testimonials and how can we collaborate on that? Because I just feel like that is so impactful.
Excellent, Jessica. Yes, the answer is yes. And I am sure when talking with the students, I said, because these are ARPA projects, we are obligated to give feedback. Every single one of them said, yes, I will present, I will comment, I will do anything. And we're very careful to make sure that the lines with the schools are adhered to, but we will talk because I think there is absolutely a way we can get students' voices heard.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. So if we can help support or facilitate that conversation, you know how to find us. So just reach out to us and let us know. Lynn is asking, so back to Chrissy and Penny on JAWS, what is the sustainability plan for JAWS?
Lynn, the sustainability plan is actually the next thing that we have to actively work to develop. JAWS is all about community partnership. What the mission of JAWS is to develop a community program to recruit and retain the long-term care workforce. So again, Jessica, it fits right in with the whole awareness. And so JAWS has about a little over a year left in the Project Lifeline, and sustainability is a high priority to get it, because we all know that until you have a sustainability plan, just having one or two excellent energizing events does not mean that they're going to last. And so that's next steps. But thanks for asking. It's an important question.
Perfect. Thank you all. All right. Well, I don't see any other open forum hands or chats. So I'm going to go ahead and move us into one question that we wanted to ask. It's an additional poll question. We wanted to get y'all's feedback. So I don't know if you guys saw, I hope you did, fingers crossed, that we had our inaugural Direct Care Worker Appreciation Week, April 2nd through the 8th of this year. It was a governor's proclamation, and we were lucky enough through our relationship with Colorado Committee on Aging with Penny to get the House and Senate floor tributes on Tuesday, April 4th. And so those were incredible. We had a lot of direct care workers on the floor, thanks to CC Wu and a lot of folks in attendance that day, including some of our co-chairs. So you can go back and actually watch the tributes on the coloradochannel.net for April 4th. So I would encourage you to take time to do that. It's incredible. But what we're thinking now, since we're a little pressed for time for this proclamation. We didn't know that it was actually approved until kind of last minute. And so we didn't get to do quite the planning that we wanted to do. We didn't get to have the local events that we wanted to do. We didn't get to push it out to the local regions. And so Deborah on our team actually suggested perhaps looking at doing it as an annual event. And so going through that whole process to make it an annual event every week, the first week of April every year is going to be Direct Care Worker Appreciation Week. So certainly that's something we need to look into. It looks like it's going to be like a legislative process. So we're trying to get some support to see if that's what folks are interested. And one thing I do want to mention is we are well aware of the DSP week in September. We love that week. What this week does for us is expands on it. And so we know that the one in September, the DSP week in September, is traditionally for the IDD population, which we love. But since the collaborative is such a broad lens across the continuum of all folks as direct care workers, we thought, let's add another week for them. You know, the IDD folks will get recognized twice, which is great. Like twice is nice, right? But this is just a little broader. And so if you do have questions or concerns about how it competes with that week in September, we'd be happy to talk through that. We're looking for feedback on concerns you might have, but I am going to launch a poll just to see if you would be interested in the leadership team going ahead and maybe pursuing that and looking to see if we can get that on the calendar. So let me launch that poll really quickly and just get your feedback on it. Again, if you have concerns or reservations, we would love to hear those, because if you have them, other folks probably do as well. We'll give folks another 20, 30 seconds or so. All right, that looks about what we've had the last several polls. So I'm going to go ahead and share the results. So we do have a strong voting for yes. We do have some no's and we do have some unsures, which I would be surprised if we didn't. And so if you're not ready to talk about those right now and air that and talk about that in this forum, please know that you are welcome to reach out to our team or any of the co-chairs, Penny, Oliver, any of the collaborative co-chairs, just to talk through that, see what that would look like. We'd love to hear your thoughts on you know, maybe play devil's advocate a little bit and let us work through that. Certainly, because we had the one this year and we want to continue to learn and grow on that, but we certainly want to talk through any, you know, growing pains as well. So thank you all for answering that for us. And with that, I think I am ready to turn it over to Dr. Judy Scott for an update on Colorado Direct Care Training. Judy, are you ready?
I am not at my usual spot, so it may take me a minute. So if you have any questions while I get set up, I'll appreciate that. If you want to talk with each other.
Perfect. I'll stop my share, Judy.
All righty. Just take me a second.
No problem.
Where it usually takes me longer than a second. It's okay.
Perhaps while we're waiting for Judy to get that set up, I will drop the link in the chat for our direct care worker story sharing blog. This was born out of value and awareness. And we have Jen Oakes here, and she manages the blog, but this is a place for direct care workers and folks who are related to or receiving care from direct care workers to share their experiences, to share their story. And just basically, we're just collecting stories so folks can go to the blog and learn more about what direct care work is, the successes, the struggles, and just really characterize and add value to the field. So I'll drop that in there, and it looks like Judy is ready to go.
So you can see my screen okay?
Sure can, Judy. Looks good.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you for your invitation today to update you on the CDCT direct care training. One piece of the work that we're hearing about today, it's important and being done to support direct care work in the state of Colorado. I loved hearing what the other presenters are doing. So the CDCT goals. So what I'm going to do today is just give you an overview of what's happened this past year, which is coming to a close at the end of June, and then going forward until the end of 2023. So the goal for the CDCT by the end of this year, our pilot feedback will confirm that CDCT curriculum that we've developed meets the project objectives to prepare homemakers, personal care workers to deliver professional member care permitted under Colorado Medicaid and founded by the principles of person-centered care. We want this curriculum to stand for credentialing that is standardized and portable. And our hope is that employers, whether they have a robust training program or they have small to not much or non-existent training, we know that the direct care workers who come through this CDC training will be well-prepared employees, and whether the agencies adopt this training program or not. So to that effect, by the end of this year, 17 pilots of all the modules we've developed will be completed to confirm that CDC delivery is effective as either online, self-paced, or provider facilitated or trainer facilitated. The curriculum will be piloted in at least one of each of the following direct care work centered settings: consumer home, assisted living communities, group homes, day centers, respite, to name a few. Our pilot evaluation data will inform the final curriculum. In other words, we'll go back and do revisions as we get feedback from stakeholder groups like yourselves, direct care workers themselves, and agencies and employers that pilot and are subject matter experts too. So that will help us identify any problems, the strengths of the curriculum, and any potential challenges or risks to having employers adopt the curriculum statewide. So here's a little review. We signed on this project in July of 22 and initially got together our UCSS team. And then we began to look statewide for our advisory group to make sure that we're establishing the advisory group across waivers, across settings, and getting a very broad range of advisors. And we had our first advisory group in October of 22. And it has been incredibly rich. The advisory group has given us feedback on curriculum, given us tips on pilot sites, been very helpful in getting our priorities straight and making sure that everything we do wraps around person-centered care. And it's important, of course, that we go on our founding documents, and including the state bill, the Senate Bill 19238, the Improving Wages and Accountability for Home Care Workers, and from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, the Roadmap for Core Competencies, lots of foundation documents, and of course, best practices from the HCPF. So from 2021. So moving along, once we put our team together, we got our first advisory group together, which we meet quarterly. And then we had ad hocs in April and May to just look at modules. We, in November to December, developed the curriculum outline, which includes 25 modules that we believe are the core modules for the first 16, and then specialized modules like care of older adult or adults with disabilities and children with physical disabilities, children with intellectual and developmental delays. We surveyed our potential pilots and our direct care workers. I see a typo, I apologize for that. I'm a teacher, that's just awful. And to find out what the priorities were for content and how they would like to pilot which I'll get into a little bit more, our piloting and training processes in the next couple slides. In the spring here, which is wrapping up in June very quickly, we started to put all of our modules into an Articulate RISE platform, knowing that that platform is going to complement the State Resource Hub, which is eventually where everything will be, so that direct care workers will be able to sign in, sign up, get certificates for their work that they've done and their badging. But right now, these are in RISE so that anyone who is piloting or training or using the curriculum as a subject matter expert can go into the RISE platform and go through it nicely laid out modules. And if any of you would like to experience the modules yourself, we can send you the link for those, and would appreciate, of course, that you keep it within inside the collaboratives, as it's not ready to be published at this point. All the modules are getting reviewed by HICPUF and our advisory group. And then in June, we're doing a soft pilot with 2 sites, including our self-employed, our CDAS and IHSS employers, as well as agencies. And it's summer and it's been fun because many folks are, of course, on vacation. So if any of you who represent organizations here are interested in piloting the curriculum, you can choose from 4 to 6 modules. Right now it's modules 1 through 8. And again, we can send you the curriculum outline and the modules that are available and give you the piloting processes. We also did a wrap-up summary, I think that's worth noting, of all the content that our advisory group, all volunteers, have helped us get together in the last year in the end of June. And looking forward, June through August is the major period for testing out this curriculum and gathering the evaluation data through the planned surveys and listening groups that we'll be doing. On June 21, we have a listening group for trainers themselves to hear about best practices you can use for training, and to make sure that we have our training processes in place to make it work best. So by September 30 of 23, we'll have done 10 pilots for modules, and then we'll have 7 more pilots through the end of the year for the specialized modules that I mentioned earlier. So to wrap up the curriculum piece, we have 8 modules for initial pilot sites, May, June, July, then 17 modules available for pilot sites in July and August, and then our modules specialized that are being developed 18 through 25. And as noted in the survey from Rachel a little bit earlier, while it's not a large percentage, we have enough Spanish speakers so that we need to make sure that this curriculum will be available in Spanish. And as the curriculum models are revised, then when we've got the revisions all done and ready to go into the State Resource and Job Hub, then everything will be translated into Spanish. With future, after our piece of this project is done, we'll be looking at other languages as needed to see what other translations need to be done and are possible for us to do. So for the pilots, what we are doing right now, and I mentioned we are assessing trainer and training needs, and I've got a couple of graphics for this, so I won't spend too much time on here. But before a pilot, a week ahead, the site will have all the training materials in either online links, PDF, or print form, can be snail mail, depending on what the resources that are needed. The curriculum is tailored so that the modules can be either self-paced or trainer-led. The pilot will take 4 weeks, 2 weeks for the actual piloting and 2 weeks for the evaluation. which will include module surveys for the direct care workers and trainer evaluation materials. But you might like to see this. When we surveyed the pilot sites that had agreed that there are 27 or so that said they would like to pilot, these are the waivers that are represented, because we really wanted to make sure we get across the waivers. The preferred training reported by our pilot sites in our ad hoc meeting in April said that some of it's going to be trainer-led, some of it's going to be self-paced, and some will use both modalities. And this is really good news because we have developed our materials so that they can be trainer-led with a handbook for an overall training handbook, plus individual module training tips, PowerPoints, directions for resources needed. Do you need a walker? And so on, things like that. Self-paced, what will happen is the direct care worker will get the link, will complete the module, we'll take an assessment at the end. Each of the assessments are 10 questions, which is a blend of multiple choice and some true false. And we're hoping that these questions, as they're vetted, will give an employer confidence that if down the road an employee comes to a new agency and says, I have completed 16 modules with the direct care curriculum training program, and here are my certificates of completion and some badges, and that the new employer can say, these questions measure whether or not the employee needs to do all our training or is going to be ready to go based on that portable credentialing that we're hoping to create here. And the other thing we haven't quite worked out here is whether or not these assessment questions will be sufficient for an employer to say, yeah, you can skip the HIPAA. It looks like you just did this training. So those are things we're piloting right now to find out. The topics on the curriculum that folks are most interested in are communication skills and person-centered care. And there's a particular module that really dives deep into communication skills and includes person-centered care. And we're working hard to make sure that all modules really focus on person-centered care all the way through. But these are some of the topics. Another topic of interest is wellness for the direct care worker themselves, which is a self-study module that we really like. That's about all I have. This is my contact, J. Marty 28 and Penny Whitney. We would be more than happy to talk with anyone who would like to pilot, has questions, would like a list of the curriculum modules, or maybe a particular one. I see Oliver.
Hi, yes, thank you, Judy. Great work, and it's looking really nice. Is this meant to be volunteer initially, or is there plans on it being more of a, I heard you mention badges and certificates.
When you say volunteer, what do you mean?
So is it, do you anticipate that this will be like mandatory training recommended by the state for direct care workers, or do you intend for it to just be a resource that the direct care workers can go to and get information and you know, have those certificates and badges to carry with them?
I'm glad you brought that up because I really should dive deeper into that. Thanks, Oliver. This curriculum is voluntary, and it may be that an agency that has a very robust training system already may not want necessarily to use all of it, but may want to use or supplement with some of these resources that are here. And direct care workers who are working with CDOS or IHSS employers may want this information just for their own growth. There are going to be direct care workers who are moving forward in an academic setting, or they may just be curious and I would really like to know more about dementia, so I will log in, I will take this course, I will get this badge. But as far as employers mandating that that they use this curriculum, that will be their choice, of course. And as far as the state goes, this is completely a voluntary program. Brooke?
I'm just doing a time check.
Awesome. I always
yeah.
talk too long.
No, that's okay, Judy. There are some questions in the chat, and so I was hoping
Okay.
maybe you could pop over and follow up with those while I get us moving to our next presenter. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no. I'm ready to go. Let me unshare.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Let me get us going
You
with our last presenter.
Maybe if I can unshare. Good old mouse. Come on now. There we go.
All right, perfect. Let me get us going here. So I am just going to do really quickly. I'm just going to give Melissa the rest of the time that we have, clear till 11:30. But just know that HICPUF staff, team members will be dropping resources in the chat for you to bookmark. I just wanted to do a quick reminder that our next collab will be Wednesday, September 13th, same time, 10 to 11:30, same Zoom link. That'll be updated on the website. You'll have an updated agenda there about 10 to 15 days before the actual collaborative, so you can plan accordingly. And then we are going to drop the link to a survey for you all to do, just to give us feedback on what's working, maybe what's not working. And then we'd love to, just get your feedback on what we can do better, make this a better use of your time. And we love to put those into effect. So please leave your honest feedback for us. And with that, I would love to hand it over to Melissa.
Hi, Brooke. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thanks for hanging in there for me and this last 15 minutes. I'm just going to talk briefly about the Quest grant that I oversee here at Workforce Development Programs with the Colorado Department of Labor and Employment. Workforce Development Programs is within the Employment and Training Division within CDLE. Next slide, please. I'm going to be really quick with this presentation because I know getting close 11:30. So if you have any questions, I'll have my contact information at the end of the presentation, and you can feel free to reach out to me. But just a little bit about the Quest grant. So this is a workforce development grant. So it funds employment and training services, resources and funding for training for job seekers in many different industries and occupations. So the grant is a USDOL funded program. It stands for Quality Jobs, Equity, Strategy, and Training. And it's about $6.7 million. And we were awarded this grant. It's a pretty quick grant. It's about 2 years long. And it's with Department of Labor. It's how they award them is within like a competitive process. And they're usually one-time, one deal kind of grants. And peer performance is usually about like 24 months or 2 years. And so this grant does live at the local workforce area. I'm not sure how familiar everyone on the call is with workforce centers, but essentially Colorado has throughout the whole state, different workforce centers in each county. And the workforce centers are free services to any job seeker and businesses as well, who are looking for employment services, training services, and supportive services to help with their job search. And usually the biggest kind of piece of our programs is funding for training, occupational skills training. And then work-based learning. So your work experiences and paid internships. So this grant, Quest, lives at the local workforce center along with many other grants and services that we have there. I'm not sure if everyone is also familiar with the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, WIOA. That's our main kind of gambit as far as services and programs at the local workforce center. And Quest is kind of like a complementary program. And so our goal is about 575 people, and this is job seekers across the state. And like I said, this grant is available at 8 local workforce centers. So it's not available in Mesa County or Jefferson County, which serves Clear Creek, Glypen, and Jefferson County. So it's mainly the Denver metro area, and then up north, and then Colorado Springs, and then the rest of the rural state. Next slide, please. And so the goal of this grant, so it was awarded as a effect or as a response to COVID-19 to really help folks battle the social and economic inequities that the pandemic brought on, and to really help those folks enter, return to advance in high quality jobs in growth industries and critical industries. And I'll send this, I think you can go ahead and send this presentation out at the end, but you all will have access to this. So we are really focused on the care economy, so healthcare, so that's why I'm here today. and then advanced manufacturing and many other growth industries within the state, such as financial services, information technology, tourism, and so on. So next slide. And so these are our targeted industries, as I said here. And so within healthcare, you know, we're really pinning down either childcare, health and wellness, long-term direct care, which is why I'm here today, home healthcare, and such and such. Next slide, please. And this is the populations and eligibility. So I'm not going to spend too long on this. And this is for our workforce centers to kind of figure out eligibility, but this is kind of the preliminary pieces of eligibility. So anyone who's interested in this program would have to meet one of the following criteria. So someone who's temporarily or permanently laid off as a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic, and that can mean someone who was actually fired or quit because they had to take care of a family member or they had to take care of themselves due to COVID. So it's not looking at someone who was technically laid off. And some of this terminology is definitely WIOA related, so I'll try to be as clear as I can. And then we have long-term unemployed, so folks who are about 6 months of unemployment, and then a second definition about 12 weeks in the last 26-week period. So looking at short-term and long-term, and then dislocated workers as defined by WIOA, and that's essentially defined by that program. And there's about 9 different categories, but one of the main ones with dislocated worker is someone who's been laid off due to no fault of their own, and they are eligible for unemployment insurance. And then also individuals who are self-employed, so that does include our gig workers or day-to-day workers or labor exchange, who are significantly underemployed or unemployed as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. And then as far as the grant itself, we're very encouraged to serve individuals from historically marginalized populations. So that would be low income, folks with disabilities, folks with maybe just a high school education and looking to advance, folks who are people of color, and folks from the LGBTQ and plus community, and many other kind of priority populations. This grant is really focusing on helping those folks enter, return to advance. Next slide, please. I'll be kind of going through these next couple of slides pretty quickly. So there's just some of the grant activities that is part of the goal of the grant. So one of these is to develop and expand strategic partnerships. So that's kind of why I'm here today, to talk about this grant and opportunity here today at the state level. But a lot of this work is really being done by our local area partners. And again, those are county run, and they actually administer the services to our job seekers and to businesses. So a lot of this work does fall on them to establish those relationships, either develop or expand. A lot of our business services reps who work at the local workforce centers, they work with employers, and a lot of their focus is expanding and developing strategic partnerships, whether it's sector-based or CBOs, like community-based organizations, to just help with referrals and stuff like that. So next slide. And then outreach is a big piece of this grant as well. And I'll just kind of brief over this. Essentially, this grant really does allow actual funds to do some targeted outreach. And so, which is pretty great with this grant, because a lot of our other grants have some money for that kind of stuff, but it's really clear in this grant that we can reach out to diverse populations. And again, a lot of this does fall on our local area partners. Next slide. And then business engagement. So that's kind of falls into our business services teams at the local workforce area. Again, they do that direct service delivery to businesses. And at the state level, I kind of just try to get the word out and coordinate with folks like on this call. I know there's some employers on this call. So this grant can kind of help with the local areas doing that work with either with employers as far as retention, hiring, and other staffing challenges, hiring or holding hiring events, job fairs, and all the great stuff that they do at the local level, as Brooke knows. She came from a local workforce center. Next slide. And then kind of the nooks and crannies of this grant. This is the direct client services to job seekers. So career training and supportive services. So WBL is work-based learning. Sorry, I have some acronyms on here that might not be familiar. And I should have deleted needs-related payment. It's just a kind of supportive service payment that we can do. So a lot is originally available. Actually, this grant is off to a slow start. A lot of competitive funds. So we have a lot of funds available. We have about a little over a year left to spend. We just had other grants that were ending that our other workforce centers had to finish out. And then a lot of competitive funds, as I think as everyone can probably understand, but a lot of our funding is not related to CARES Act, actually related to DOL. So we just have kind of a lot of ongoing funding, but yes, a lot of that money is on the table. We really didn't get started until the winter, I would say. We got the notice of award from Department of Labor around October. And then that was, and by the time, our money went out to the locals, it was during the holidays. So we really didn't get started until I would say January. So as we know, grants can take a little bit to start. And then so focusing on high demand occupations and growing industries. So that's really where our occupational skills training is really focused on, and also work-based learning. And this is case by case. I mean, if someone comes in and they have experience in a certain industry that might not have a bright outlook, but they have the skills and they need to maybe just get a certification, or they really don't want to change careers, but they've had trouble maybe getting back into it. It's really case by case for folks as well. And then supportive services are available for folks who are involved in training, career services, and supportive services are pretty flexible. I mean, it includes transportation, rental and mortgage assistance, childcare assistance, uniform help, all that kind of stuff that is really helpful for someone who's in a training program and doesn't have the resources to pay for that stuff. Next slide, please. I think this will be probably the most exciting. And I know I'm going very fast, so I apologize. So disaster relief employment. So this is a very interesting type of subsidized employment. So it's not, I wouldn't think of it as maybe a paid internship or work-based learning, because work-based learning has a lot of academic and occupation components tied, skills to be learned. Disaster relief employment really is to address the ongoing economic and social challenges caused by the pandemic. So a little bit of background with this type of work. We actually did I'll say DREs going forward with our other grant, Co-Responds. Some of you might have heard of that grant. It's now over, but was a disaster recovery grant. And that grant did allow temporary employment. And that really was helpful when COVID first hit, and we got that grant in around April of 2020. A lot of the jobs that were designed were to help mitigate the spreading of COVID and really responding to the effects of COVID. So we had a lot of people working in temp positions at the food banks and at maybe clothing shelters. And then also at some of the actual career centers that we have statewide, we had folks just helping sanitization and stuff like that. But as we know, we're kind of past that phase, and we're now in pretty much a recovery phase. So a lot of these jobs with this grant are actually yet to be determined. I think our local areas are a little apprehensive maybe with going this route because it's new territory with the post kind of pandemic piece. But really these positions can be in any sector, can be private or public, and they really are designed to kind of help with any critical need in that region right at that time. So it can be up to 12 months or 2,080 hours, and there's no hourly wage cap. They can pay as high as wages they want, but they have to be paid at least $15 an hour when no other employees are doing similar work. And it does get pretty into the nitty gritty, so I'm not gonna get into all this right now, but wages must be, like I said, compensated at the same rate as similar employees in similar occupations, so they could even enjoy getting paid overtime. Or if that same temporary employee, if that same employee has the same similar task and duties in a similar role, then they would enjoy the same rights. So it's a little bit more flexible, and it's really designed to just help with mitigating the issues of COVID. So for example, like I said, we haven't really started anything at the state level, but other states have been tackling healthcare. California is really looking at doing some LPN training. And while they're doing LPN training, they're actually doing that on the job, and that's helping them towards their clinicals and towards meeting other requirements. And I know in our rural area, about in the southeast, south central part of Colorado, they're looking at one of the workforce centers down there is looking at doing maybe some childcare temporary employment just to really help with the need down there. As we know, it's a desert down there, and the folks, and even if they do have centers, it's really hard to get folks and bodies there. So kind of tackling some of those critical industries and needs and critical sectors that really need folks right now. So that's kind of what disaster relief employment is. So next slide, and I'm almost done, I promise.
Oh,
And
no,
I know
you're
that
fine.
was-
And I was going to say, Melissa, I'm happy to stay after if folks have
Okay.
questions, if you're available. I'll
Yep.
stay as long as we need. So yeah, if you have to run, we understand, but
Oh, yeah.
otherwise we'll keep it as long as we need to. So thanks, folks.
Okay, cool. And yeah, I just didn't want to take too much of everyone's time, so I appreciate that. Thank you. So yes, this is kind of the last of it. I'll have some resources at the end, but please spread awareness within your professional network. Please, please, please. I know there are some workforce centers on here, so I know it's been a hard kind of slow start, but as we know, these grants are a little bit difficult to implement in the beginning, but I refer any interested parties to the Workforce Center. On the next slide, you can go to that slide, actually, go ahead. I have a list of resources, and one of them is a website, and the website is like a Google site, and it has a list of all the workforce centers that are available as far as links to their websites. And if you're an employer and you're looking for it, if you're interested in workforce services or employers, you can just reach out to your closest workforce center. And if you know anyone who's a job seeker, they can also go to that website too for whichever local area that they're in, and they can because each local area has a bit of a different process and how to get started. So I just linked every URL website so they can figure that out. And then I also linked some flyers and a one-pager and the official announcement. And then I have my email and phone number if you'd like to get in touch with me. So that was really quick. I'm sorry, everyone. I know I sped through that really quickly, but if any questions, I'll look through the chat, but please feel free to ask me.
It does look like Lynn is asking, does all funding have to flow through local workforce? She apologizes, she may have missed
Oh, no,
that.
you're good. Yeah, no, yes, so it does. And all the funding has already been allocated out and given to them. So yes, all this funding is through the local workforce system. So anyone who would be interested in accessing this funding, or if you're a job seeker employer, you have to go through your local workforce system center. And like I said, this grant is available at each one except for Mesa County and except for Jefferson. However, they have business services folks there, and they also have WIOA and many other grants that they can help a job seeker or employer out. So just because Quest isn't there doesn't mean they can't help you. They definitely can.
Perfect.
Yeah, and then I see. Yes, I see. Yeah, regular. Awesome. Hi, Teresa. It's nice to meet you. Yes, I just had your new director talk at my last call about referring job seekers, and you guys have a lot of enrollments, which is great to see. So I'm excited to see that. Yeah.
Well, if you need help connecting to your local workforce center, want to identify
Sure.
where that's at or how to connect, of course, I'm sure Melissa would be happy to help. I'd be happy to help. But yeah, it sounds like that would be the next step for folks, is to reach out to their local workforce center and see what's next.
Yep. And you can reach out to me if you have any questions, but yeah, that would be the next step.
Awesome. Thank you, Melissa. I'm sorry we rushed you there at the
end.
end.
It's okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to be mindful of people's time, so no worries.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you all for sticking with us. If there's no more questions, I'll go ahead and end today's meeting. And like I said, I dropped the survey in the chat just to get your feedback. And thank you so much for sticking around, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.